So we are working with value. In art, value means light and dark. And what we are going to do today is draw some bubbles. We are going to use one marker, and it needs to be a washable marker. I have a little marker here. I made sure it says washable on it. You need one washable marker, something round to trace so that you can make a perfect circle. So I've got a cup, and this cup has a small end and a bigger end, so I can make different size bubbles. And then you need some water and a paintbrush. So after you've gathered all those things, you're going to draw some circles on your paper. So I'm just going to use my marker and trace the circle. And like I said, I'm going to have some small and some big. So there's a variety of bubbles. I'll do another big one up here. You can do them all over your paper. Let's do a small one over here. All right, do another big one in the corner. I'll do another big one. All right, so after you've decided how many bubbles you're going to draw and where you want them on your paper, then the next thing you're going to do is draw the reflection where the light hits the bubble. So decide which direction the light's coming from. I'm going to put my little reflections up in the upper right hand corner of my bubble. Well, not that bubbles have corners, but upper right hand. So I'm just going to draw sort of like a rectangle, but with some curvy sides because it's on a bubble. So I'm going to draw a little reflection on each one of my bubbles. Can't see the top of that one, so I'm not going to give it one. All right, and then on the same side where I have my reflection, I'm just going to do a little curve and make this line a little bit darker at the top. Just like so. I'm trying to stay inside the lines of my circle, but just make this a stronger line up here on this side. And I got a little bit messy here when I was drawing this circle, but that's okay. I can kind of straighten it out when I add a little more color to this side. Okay, so now I'm done with the drawing part. Now I'm going to get my water and get my paintbrush wet, and I'm just going to trace these lines that I drew. So I'm going to start with, I'm staying on the outside of my reflection, and I'm staying on the inside of my bubble. I'm just going to get it a little bit wet. It's going to soften up the edges of my bubble a little bit and make it look a little less like a circle that I drew on the paper and a little bit more like a bubble floating in the air. Now it takes a little time for the marker to spread, so you might not see the bubble effect immediately. You might have to let it dry. For a little while, but I'm just going to do this on all of my bubbles. Okay, and then over time, as it dries, it'll start to look more like this where the edges get a little softer. Now some of mine, I use a little too much water on this one, so I've got like a line on my bubble. So maybe it's not the most perfect example, so you want to just be careful with your water. Make sure that you're staying inside the lines and that you don't get your brush too wet. All right, so have fun with your bubbles. Just go slowly and carefully and follow the instructions, and they should look awesome when you're done.